Goku shifts his weight on the smooth grass of Beerus's planet, his eyes locked onto his training partner. Opposite him, Vegeta stands with a tense posture, waiting for the slightest movement to initiate their daily sparring session. Whis watches from a distance, holding his staff aloft as the divine energy of the realm hums quietly around them. This intense routine stems from their recent defeat, driving the two Saiyans to push past their current limitations. They know that a massive power gap remains between them and the universal threats currently lurking in the dark. Goku breaks the silence by leaping forward, launching a rapid succession of punches that cut through the thin air. Vegeta blocks each strike with his forearms, the impacts creating sharp acoustic booms that echo across the landscape. While defending, Vegeta barks out that his rival is moving too slowly to challenge the apex power they witnessed during their last encounter. Goku grins through the strain, shouting back that he is merely warming up his muscles before tapping into his deeper techniques. Their movements accelerate until their bodies become mere blurs against the alien sky. Vegeta repels the final strike with a powerful ki, forcing his opponent backward by several meters. Taking a brief breath, Vegeta explains that traditional martial arts training will never suffice to defeat Frieza. Goku nods in agreement, acknowledging that the overwhelming strength of their rival requires a completely different approach to combat mastery. They both understand that their survival depends on perfecting their divine forms before their nemesis decides to strike again. The memory of their swift defeat motivates them to discard any remnants of complacency. Whis glides over to the two exhausted warriors, the gem on his staff glowing with a soft blue light. Whis informs them that divine entities cannot interfere with mortal conflicts or track the Galactic Emperor for them. Goku sighs, expressing his understanding of the rules of the gods while wiping sweat from his forehead. Vegeta crosses his arms, muttering that he prefers to hunt down their target without relying on angelic assistance anyway. The conversation reinforces the reality that the Saiyans are entirely on their own to resolve this impending galactic crisis. Far beyond the boundaries of the divine realm, deep within an uncharted sector of space, Frieza sits calmly on a floating throne inside his massive flagship. Frieza reviews holographic star charts displaying dozens of newly conquered planetary systems organized in a tactical log. His recent ascendancy to this unparalleled state of power has allowed his empire to expand at an unprecedented rate across the universe. Despite his current dominance, the Emperor remains unsatisfied with mere territorial control and seeks an ancient source of power to solidify his rule. This driving ambition establishes his primary objective to secure total cosmic supremacy. Frieza summons his top operational commanders to the bridge, his voice carrying a chilling tone of absolute authority. Frieza commands them to alter the ship's trajectory immediately toward a cluster of dead worlds located near the galactic rim. He explains that an ancient artifact known as the Planet Core lies hidden beneath the surface of a desolate world in that sector. According to Imperial intelligence records, this artifact possesses the unique ability to channel and amplify planetary life forces directly into its wielder. The crew immediately executes the order, setting a course that will bring them closer to this mysterious energy source. While the Imperial flagship speeds through the vacuum of space, a completely different vessel enters the upper atmosphere of New Namek. The massive, dark starship casts a heavy shadow over the peaceful green plains, disrupting the tranquil life of the native population. The local inhabitants look up in terror as the unfamiliar vessel descends, its engines roaring with an ominous vibration. This unexpected arrival breaks the long period of peace that the planet has enjoyed since its restoration. The ground trembles as the landing gear locks into place near a major Namekian village. Lord Slug steps out of the dark starship's primary decompression hatch, his massive frame emitting a suffocating, malevolent pressure. Lord Slug surveys the surrounding landscape with a cold, demanding gaze that terrifies the gathering villagers. He loudly announces his arrival to the trembling populace, demanding that they immediately surrender all 7 Namekian Dragon Balls to his vanguard. Lord Slug reveals that his ancient life force is rapidly fading due to extreme old age, and he intends to use the magical spheres to grant himself eternal youth. This aggressive invasion introduces a dire threat to the survival of the Namekian race. Elder Mori steps forward from the crowd of frightened villagers, raising his hand to halt his people from attacking blindly. Elder Mori courageously informs the invading tyrant that the Dragon Balls are sacred artifacts meant only for peaceful purposes, not for selfish desires. Lord Slug laughs menacingly at the refusal, asserting that physical weakness gives the natives no right to deny his ultimate command. To demonstrate his ruthlessness, Lord Slug unleashes a sharp wave of telekinetic force that shatters a nearby stone structure into dust. The demonstration of power forces the elders to realize the immense danger they face. Meanwhile, on the distant planet Earth, Gamma 1 sits inside a state-of-the-art security monitoring facility operated by Capsule Corporation. Gamma 1 meticulously scans global energy readouts, fulfilling his duty to protect the planet from any remaining red ribbon remnants or external threats. His cybernetic systems process millions of data packets per second, ensuring total surveillance over key geographical zones. The peaceful atmosphere of his current assignment allows him to reflect on his past errors and focus entirely on his role as a protector of justice. However, this routine monitoring is suddenly interrupted by a highly unusual alert on his primary console. Gamma 1 observes a strange, encrypted sub-frequency that is broadcasting from an abandoned underground laboratory formerly owned by the Red Ribbon Army. Gamma 1 notes that the incoming transmission contains specific parameters that require immediate attention. The transmission appears to be an automated activation sequence, sending out data streams that could potentially compromise global defense networks if left unchecked. Gamma 1 immediately initiates a tracing protocol to pinpoint the exact depth and structural integrity of the broadcasting source. The mysterious nature of the transmission suggests that a hidden threat may be waking up beneath the Earth. Bulma walks into the security command center carrying a tablet that displays the exact same anomalous energy spikes. Bulma requests that Gamma 1 fly to the coordinates immediately to investigate the laboratory before the signal causes widespread technological chaos. Gamma 1 salutes confidently, assuring her that he will neutralize the source of the broadcast and ensure the security of the planet. Without wasting another moment, Gamma 1 activates his thrusters, launching himself through the roof hatch and speeding toward the remote mountain range. This investigation sets off a critical race against time to prevent a potential cybernetic resurgence. In another part of Earth, far above the clouds, Piccolo stands motionless on the edge of the lookout. Piccolo senses a bizarre, localized distortion in the fabric of space, emanating directly from the entrance of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. The heavy wooden doors of the mystical building are vibrating slightly, releasing faint wisps of distorted white energy into the sacred grounds. Piccolo recognizes that this phenomenon is entirely unprecedented and poses a severe risk to the structural stability of the entire platform. The mysterious anomaly prompts him to seek immediate assistance to contain the brewing crisis. Gohan descends from the sky and lands gently on the tiled floor of the lookout, having arrived instantly after receiving Piccolo's urgent telepathic summons. Gohan observes the vibrating structure and notes that the ambient energy in the air feels incredibly heavy and unstable. Piccolo explains to him that the internal dimensions of the chamber appear to be collapsing inward, creating a volatile rift. Gohan expresses his concern, realizing that if the chamber ruptures completely, it could tear a hole in the Earth's atmosphere. They both agree that they must enter the unstable realm together to investigate and neutralize the source of the distortion. Piccolo places his hand on the heavy brass handle of the door, cautioning Gohan to brace himself for extreme gravitational fluctuations. Gohan nods seriously, shifting his focus entirely to his internal ki as they prepare to cross the threshold into the unstable dimension. The air around the entrance grows colder, and the sound of cracking reality echoes from within the building. With a swift movement, Piccolo pulls the door open, revealing a swirling vortex of white and purple energy instead of the usual endless void. They step forward into the shimmering chaos, initiating a perilous mission to save their world from dimensional destruction. Back on the distant world of Beerus, the training session between the two Saiyans reaches a critical turning point. Goku powers up instantly, a brilliant aura of divine blue light erupting around his body as he increases his velocity. Vegeta smirks at the sudden escalation, welcoming the increased pressure as a necessary test of his own defensive capabilities. Goku launches a barrage of heavy energy blasts, each one traveling fast enough to distort the space around the divine training grounds. The sheer intensity of the assault forces his rival to abandon his standard form to match the incoming power. Vegeta transforms instantly, his aura flaring with a deep purple destructive energy that completely obliterates the incoming blasts upon contact. Vegeta charges forward, explaining that the nature of his power allows him to grow stronger with every ounce of battle heat he absorbs. Goku parries a devastating right hook, feeling the immense weight of the destructive ki pressing against his own defenses. The two elite warriors clash in mid-air, their blows creating shockwaves that rattle the ancient trees surrounding the lake. Their relentless pursuit of strength drives them to fight with absolute seriousness, ignoring the physical toll on their bodies. Beerus awakens abruptly from his nap on a nearby stone lounger, his face contorted with intense irritation at the loud explosions disrupting his rest. Beerus loudly warns the Saiyans that if they chip his planet's crust or destroy his favorite tree, he will erase them both from existence without hesitation. Goku quickly backs away from the fight, laughing nervously while apologizing to the god of destruction for their excessive noise. Vegeta maintains his battle stance, scoffing at the interruption but lowering his power slightly to avoid further angering their host. The brief pause allows the fighters to catch their breath while remaining focused on their underlying objective. Meanwhile, the Imperial flagship of the Frieza Force arrives at the coordinates of the desolate planet in the Outer Rim. Frieza flies down to the surface unaccompanied, landing in front of an ancient, crumbling vault constructed from an unknown obsidian material. Frieza scans the structure, noting that a powerful barrier of ancient magical energy seals the entrance to the artifact's resting place. He remarks to himself that simple physical strength is often insufficient against such primitive sorcery, though he remains confident in his ultimate power. The Emperor raises his hand, gathering a dense sphere of black energy at the tip of his index finger. Frieza fires a concentrated death beam directly at the center of the magical seal, causing a massive explosion that illuminates the dark sky. The ancient barrier crackles violently, resisting the immense destructive force of the Emperor's signature technique for several tense moments. Frieza intensifies his energy output, refusing to let a forgotten spell impede his progress toward obtaining the planet core. The ground beneath his feet fractures into deep chasms as the sheer pressure of his ki distorts the planet's gravitational field. With a deafening shatter, the magical defense begins to crumble under the relentless assault. On New Namek, the situation grows increasingly dire as the invading forces systematically overwhelm the local defenders. Lord Slug easily deflects a coordinated energy attack from 3 Namekian warriors, counterattacking with a sweeping arm movement that sends them crashing into the dirt. Lord Slug commands his subordinates to bring him the remaining Dragon Balls, expressing his growing impatience as his physical body weakens further from age. Elder Mori watches in horror from the ground, realizing that none of the peaceful citizens possess the combat power necessary to halt this tyrant's advance. The invading soldiers successfully extract 2 more giant spheres from the central village archive, bringing them closer to their goal. Lord Slug walks over to the gathered Dragon Balls, his eyes gleaming with malicious satisfaction as he counts 5 of the magical artifacts. Lord Slug orders his scout captains to expand their search radius to the northern quadrant where the final 2 spheres are located. Elder Mori silently attempts to send a telepathic distress signal to Earth, hoping that anyone can hear his plea for immediate assistance. However, the oppressive dark energy radiating from Lord Slug disrupts the mental transmission, severing New Namek's connection to the outside world. The realization of complete isolation deepens the despair of the captive Namekians. Back on Earth, Gamma 1 lands outside the precise coordinates of the abandoned Red Ribbon installation, his boots crunching against the loose gravel. Gamma 1 surveys the collapsed concrete bunker, noting that the entrance has been intentionally sealed by heavy debris for many years. Using his advanced cybernetic sensors, Gamma 1 confirms that the rogue signal is originating from a chamber located exactly 50 meters beneath the surface rubble. He extends his hand, firing a precise photon blast that vaporizes the blocking stones and reveals a dark, vertical shaft leading downward. Gamma 1 leaps into the opening, descending into the pitch-black depths of the forgotten laboratory. Gamma 1 activates his internal night vision systems as he reaches the bottom of the shaft, illuminating a massive subterranean facility filled with rusted machinery. Gamma 1 notices that a central supercomputer terminal is fully powered, its green screens flickering with continuous streams of complex code. The data scrolling across the monitors indicates that an automated backup protocol is currently transferring files into a large cybernetic incubation capsule at the back of the room. Gamma 1 approaches the terminal, attempting to interface with the system to terminate the upload before the process reaches completion. The mysterious nature of the project fills him with a sense of urgent apprehension. Simultaneously, Gohan and Piccolo navigate the chaotic interior of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, where the familiar white void has been replaced by a tempest of energy. Gohan struggles to maintain his footing against a powerful dimensional pull that threatens to drag them deeper into the expanding rift. Piccolo points toward the center of the vortex, noting that a massive tear in reality is actively consuming the surrounding space. They observe strange, distorted reflections of alternate timelines flickering within the edges of the spatial fracture, creating an unsettling visual display. The sheer scale of the anomaly makes it clear that standard techniques will not suffice to close it. Piccolo extends both hands forward, generating a powerful ki barrier to shield them from the volatile dimensional debris flying through the air. Piccolo commands Gohan to unleash his full power, explaining that a massive concentrated blast might force the edges of the rift to fuse back together. Gohan understands the plan, taking a deep stance while focusing his mind on the absolute peak of his latent combat potential. The air around the young warrior begins to vibrate violently as he prepares to unleash the devastating strength he achieved in his recent battles. They know they only have one opportunity to seal the rift before it becomes entirely unmanageable. Gohan powers up instantly, a brilliant white aura enveloping his body as his combat power skyrockets to immense levels. Gohan begins to gather energy into his cupped hands, the brilliant blue light illuminating the dark, swirling chaos of the collapsing chamber. Piccolo maintains the protective barrier with gritted teeth, feeling the immense pressure of the rift fighting against his defensive ki. As Gohan concentrates his attack, he catches sight of a shadowy silhouette moving deep within the center of the vortex, suggesting that something or someone might be actively causing the distortion from the other side. Meanwhile, on Beerus's planet, Goku transitions into his state of absolute calm, his entire form shifting to a serene silver sheen. Goku effortlessly evades a series of aggressive physical strikes from his rival, his body moving automatically without the need for conscious thought. Vegeta roars with frustration, increasing the speed and ferocity of his punches to break through the perfect evasive maneuvers of his opponent. The clash between absolute destruction and perfect instinct creates a spectacular display of divine martial arts that shakes the entire planet's atmosphere. Whis observes the exchange with a critical eye, noting the technical progression of both Saiyans. Vegeta swings a powerful, energy-infused fist, but Whis suddenly appears between the two combatants, tapping his staff lightly against the ground. The sudden intervention instantly dissipates the combatants' auras, freezing Goku and Vegeta mid-motion with absolute angelic authority. Goku reverts to his normal state as the pressure lifts, asking Whis why he chose to interrupt their training session so abruptly. Vegeta also powers down, crossing his arms in irritation while demanding an explanation for the unexpected halt. Whis looks unusually serious, his expression signaling that an event of extreme importance has occurred. Whis explains that the cosmic balance of Universe 7 is currently experiencing multiple severe disruptions that require their immediate attention. Whis projects a series of glowing images from the gemstone of his staff, displaying the various crises occurring across the galaxy simultaneously. Goku watches the projections with growing concern, recognizing the locations of several familiar planets under immense distress. Vegeta narrows his eyes at the images, realizing that the threats they are facing are far more widespread than a single galactic emperor. The revelation forces the Saiyans to shift their focus from training to active galactic defense. Far away, Frieza delivers a final, shattering blow to the ancient vault door, completely obliterating the obsidian structure into microscopic fragments. Frieza steps into the central chamber, his gaze locking onto a floating crystalline sphere that pulses with an intense, raw planetary energy. He reaches out and grasps the planet core, instantly feeling the immense life force of the dead world flowing directly into his body. The Emperor laughs quietly, noting that this artifact will provide the necessary foundation to elevate his power even further beyond its current limits. With the item secured, he prepares to return to his flagship to execute the next phase of his conquest. Frieza exits the crumbling vault, his newly amplified energy causing the entire desolate planet to suffer severe tectonic instability. Frieza communicates telepathically with his flagship, ordering his crew to prepare for an immediate departure to their next high-value target destination. He knows that his actions will eventually draw the attention of the Saiyans and the gods, but he welcomes the opportunity to destroy them completely with his enhanced power. The acquisition of the planet core marks a significant step forward in his master plan for undisputed galactic domination. The flagship's tractor beam activates, pulling the Emperor back into the vessel. On New Namek, Lord Slug smiles maliciously as his elite soldiers return with the final 2 Namekian Dragon Balls, completing the set of 7 giant spheres. Lord Slug arranges the artifacts in a wide circle on the grass, their golden surfaces reflecting the dim light of the planet's 3 suns. He forces Elder Mori to stand before the spheres, commanding the Elder to chant the sacred incantation required to summon the eternal dragon Purunga. Elder Mori hesitates, knowing the horrific consequences if this ancient tyrant regains his youthful vigor and unbridled power. Lord Slug raises his hand threateningly, warning that any further delay will result in the immediate eradication of every villager on the planet. Inside the Dark Earth laboratory, Gamma 1 frantically types commands into the primary Red Ribbon console, attempting to breach the system's firewall. Gamma 1 discovers that the rogue signal is an automated AI resurrection protocol that is completely immune to external override commands. The incubation capsule in front of him begins to hiss loudly, releasing thick clouds of pressurized coolant as the internal systems reach maximum capacity. Gamma 1 steps back, drawing his blaster weapon while preparing to confront whatever cybernetic entity is about to emerge from the pod. The impending awakening threatens to unleash a forgotten terror upon the peaceful planet. Within the collapsing hyperbolic time chamber, Piccolo unleashes his inner strength, his power level escalating dramatically as he reinforces his energy barrier. Piccolo shouts to Gohan that the dimensional rift is expanding faster than they anticipated. Gohan fires his fully charged energy blast directly into the center of the swirling vortex, creating a cataclysmic explosion of contrasting forces. Instead of closing, the rift reacts violently to the massive energy input, generating a powerful gravitational suction that begins to pull both warriors directly into the glowing void. They struggle against the immense force, completely unable to break free from the dimensional trap. Back on Beerus's planet, Whis concludes his presentation of the various galactic crises, leaving the glowing projections hovering in the air. Goku and Vegeta look at each other with deep gravity, realizing that they cannot be in multiple places at once to resolve these simultaneous threats. Whis informs them that they must make an immediate decision on which planetary emergency to address first, as time is rapidly running out for Universe 7.